This is the Saab J35D Draken, a Swedish-built double delta fighter aircraft placed at Tier 6 BR 10.7 and costing 390,000 research points. The primary armament of the J35 is a pair of 30mm Akan M55 cannons. These have 90 rounds per gun and a fire rate of 1,400 rounds per minute, giving these guns about 4 seconds of trigger time. There are 4 belt types available for these guns, which consist of default, air targets, ground targets, and stealth. The Draken then has a few secondary payloads, so let's start off with the air-to-air missiles. Firstly, the RB-24. This missile is a Tier 3 modification with a 10G maximum overload and a flight range of 6.21 miles or 10 kilometers. You can then upgrade to the RB-24J. This is a Tier 4 modification with a 20G overload and a flight range of 11.2 miles or 18 kilometers. Both of these missiles are Swedish designations for variants of the American IR-guided AIM-9 Sidewinder missile, and in both cases up to 4 missiles can be mounted on the aircraft, or 2 missiles alongside some air-to-ground ordnance. Those air-to-ground options include M57B and M56D unguided rockets, with the former being best suited for light targets and the latter being best suited for armored targets. Moving on to flight performance, the Draken is powered by an RM6C turbojet producing up to 8,000 kilograms of force. This powers the aircraft to well over Mach 1 at sea level and up to Mach 2 at altitude after a fair while accelerating to that speed. This also allows for the Draken to have a stat card climb rate of 180 meters per second, which is currently one of the best climb rates in War Thunder. Whilst the full fuel tank is stated as giving 14 minutes worth of fuel, this can commonly be extended with good power management, although in my experience it is still easily enough fuel for the current top tier maps. A defining feature of the J35 is its maneuverability, which is certainly quite good and is maybe even the best among other top tier jets. However, while good maneuverability is quite useful for engaging enemy aircraft and evading attacks, it does in this case have a few shortfalls that should be looked out for. Firstly, pulling too many Gs, especially at higher speeds, is a very easy way to lose your wings. The wings on the Draken seem especially prone to breaking off, so you certainly want to avoid doing a Cobra maneuver at Mach 1. Secondly, turning hard will of course bleed off a fair bit of your speed, and being slow in a top tier jet match is definitely a bad idea, so when in combat you certainly want to keep a very keen eye on your speed. Some other points of note, the Draken does have a detailed cockpit model, which I did appreciate when I took the aircraft out in air simulator battles. The J35 then also has a few skin options, with a default bicolor scheme, an experimental Swedish splinter camo scheme, and an Austrian Air Force scheme. So getting into some gameplay in Air RB, we're starting off with a game where it's essentially everyone versus the US and Japan. This seems to be quite a common lineup. And I started this game and really didn't get much done. I wasted all my missiles against F4s with their flares, who were able to defeat my missiles, and nothing really happened. Until I went to land, when I found a T2 attempting to camp the airfield. Unfortunately, he took out a friendly Jaguar, but I was able to get a critical, and then, he tries to evade me, but I, in this case, have the superior maneuverability, and I'm able to stay on his 6 and shoot him down. After landing and rearming my aircraft, I take off, and the remaining 2 friendlies are landing at the exact same time, when an F4C swoops in and kills both of them. Now there's also an F104 flying around, who I did begin to chase, but he flew off the edge of the map at speeds faster than I was going, so I couldn't catch up to him. So I left him and decided to engage the F4. RB-24J away, hits him, sets the F4 on fire, and I was able to move out just as the F104 was coming in for a gun run, thankfully not getting shot down. The F4 continues to burn, he's kind of just stalling out vertically, so I, for the time being, believe he's not an issue, and to confirm that, he then burns down, giving me my second kill. I then proceed to chase the F104, who is the single remaining enemy aircraft. In this case, he went into the cloud. I lost track of him, so I locked him up with the radar so I could keep a track of exactly where he was, and I noticed then that he's made a turn and he is beginning to come back towards me. He then makes a pass, doesn't shoot me. I'm assuming he blacked out his pilot, as he made no attempt to evade my shots or even do a gun run on me, and I'm able to shoot him down. Relatively decent first game. Unfortunately, a few teammates did get killed by airfield campers, but nonetheless I was able to finish them off in the end, getting myself a first place with 3 kills. So into our second game, I am taking the same loadout as the previous match that I showed, using the 2 internal 30mm cannons, sporting air target rounds, and then 4 RB-24J air-to-air missiles. Initially, we're going to engage an F-4E, attempting to do a gun run. Obviously doesn't go my way, but I do very quickly lock him up, fire a missile, and despite a few flares being fired, the missile tracks quite nicely and gets me a pretty solid first kill. Proceeding then, I decided to dive a little bit. I wasn't going all that fast, so, you know, as mentioned previously, being slow in a jet match, not such a good idea, so I decided to dive a bit and accelerate. I then proceed to engage an F-4EJ, who is also being engaged by a Mirage, get lined up, fire another RB-24J, and, you know, pretty solid kill there, demonstrating the pretty good 20G overload, the good agility and maneuverability, essentially, of those missiles. Failed head-on with the guns on an F-4C, but then we have an F-104 who is chasing the friendly that is chasing the F-4C. Going for a gun run, he doesn't engage me, but I get a critical hit, and after going and landing at the airfield, I then get credited with that kill, and that just happened to also be the final enemy aircraft. Another game where I got first on the team and 3 kills there, so not too bad. So there we go, the J35D Draken. I picked up this aircraft on a test drive, and I actually enjoyed my first few games in it so much that I picked up the Market Splinter camo for the aircraft, which is the paint scheme that you would have seen throughout this video. Compared to majority of the other top tier jets currently in game, the Draken is certainly unique in both aesthetics and flight characteristics, although for me the Draken's looks were the main appeal. Overall, it is a relatively fast aircraft carrying a good selection of air-to-air missiles, as in my experience the RB-24J is certainly pretty competitive in the current meta. Personally, however, the Swedish aircraft I am really waiting for is the Saab Viggen, the big brother of the Draken, which is a personal favourite of mine. I actually made a video recently on the Viggen in DCS World, and will link that below for anyone interested. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, and if you wish to see more content such as this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.